Hi, this is Tamara with Legacy Tours. I've been wanting to make another video for a while and have gotten super busy, so I just put together a bunch of clips that I have. This is at St. Augustine Church in the Treme neighborhood. It's a very historic church and I've talked about it in other videos. So I'm just giving you a few glimpses of some homes as I was walking and driving through Treme. And I don't know if you caught that really quickly, but I just passed a little area that was actually a slave pen. There are several things in New Orleans that once you know what they are and what they look like and what they were used for, you really can't unsee it. So I actually see not only slave pens, but slave quarters pretty regularly. In fact, when we get a little further down the street and around the corner, I'll show you a slave quarter. So as we're walking down this block, we're going to get to a Creole cottage right here across the street. It looks like a moderate little home, and it's a historical landmark. It's been restored beautifully, but also behind it, as was common, is a slave quarter. And so slaves were not necessarily only owned by the super wealthy, but by the moderately wealthy as well. Here are just a few other homes. I was just riding down the street and looking at properties that I think are pretty and interesting. And now we are still in Treme, but this is North Claiborne Avenue. Now you may or may not know that this used to be a really important economic engine for the Black community. It's essentially like the Black Wall Street in New Orleans. Of course, as is the case in many cities in the United States, when the federal government decided to connect major cities with the federal highway system, they decided that the Black communities were not valuable enough to retain, so they destroyed a lot of businesses and built the highways right on top of them. Now this is another area that was vital to transportation in New Orleans prior to the arrival of the French. This is actually Bayou St, which is a connection point between the river and the lake that was basically used by the indigenous people who were here. There were over 30 different indigenous tribal groups. The main language that was shared among them was the Choctaw language, although they had their own individual languages. And the area we know as New Orleans was called Bulbancha. Now, one thing most people know about southern Louisiana is we have a lot of swampland. And so there are huge areas of the interstate when you get out of the city that are actually riding above the swamps. So you're eye to eye with the treetops. And so that's where we are here in St. Charles Parish and then heading into St. John the Baptist Parish. One thing that people should really know about these two parishes is that these are the areas where the German Coast Uprising took place. And I'll tell you more about that another time. I hope you enjoyed that little tour, just checking out some of the houses in the Treme neighborhood, looking at Bayou St, seeing the Claiborne Avenue corridor that, of course, used to kind of look like this with beautiful tree cover and now has I-10 on top of it. And, of course, also riding out through the other parishes in St. Charles Parish and St. John the Baptist Parish. That's all I've got for this video. I hope you comment, like, subscribe, and visit New Orleans. And when you come, check out Legacy Tours. I'd love to show you. Let's go.